Thank you for watching our video on installing lighted speaker rings in a WPC game. I'm going to go over the materials that you come with, a couple of different variations, and the tools. You don't need many tools, just a crescent wrench, a Phillips, and a straight head will take care of all the tools that you need. What you have here is this is your power tap to get power. This is going to be an extension to go off of the power tap to your LED controller. The LED controller is controlled by the remote control. These little 4-pin connectors will connect the LED controller to each of your light rings. So that's the main lighting area. Now here, don't be daunted by all this because you're not going to use all this. You have a set of screws if you're going to be mounting a liquid crystal display. If you're going to be mounting color DMD to it. If you're going to use your original DMD, you'll use these screws. And these set of screws are to mount your rings. Now we do have a few different packages. Now you'll get a board like this that the speakers will mount to. This replaces your existing board. The biggest difference here is that the circle on this side and this side are the same size. Now, if you have stock speakers, you're going to get this light ring and this light ring that imitates the look of a regular speaker that your tweeter will mount to. Now, if you're getting the kit for aftermarket speakers, if you have aftermarket speakers, you have two large speakers like that, you're going to get two of these standard rings. Now, in this installation, I'm going to use stock speakers, which will demonstrate one of each size. If you have aftermarket, you would get two of these. And we'll sell these separately, so if you get a kit for the stock speakers and then you want to upgrade, you only have to replace this with this. Okay, now we'll go on to the next video where we'll start taking this apart. Now, depending on what game you get is going to depend on which panel you get. This particular shape panel is good for about 15-20 games. But if you're ordering your game for Dracula, you have those particular cutouts. If you're ordering this panel for Addams Family, this is your Thing cutout. If you're ordering your panel for Doctor Who, you'll get this panel. Even though this one looks like the original one, if you get Terminator, the display is centered, you'll get this panel. So now start on the game, remove your back glass, store that in a safe location. And this just lifts right up. And make sure you put a towel or a blanket on your game to protect your glass. This is just going to lift up and set down. Now here's the panel you get. Here's the panel that's on your game. And if you look, you'll see all the holes correspond. We're going to transfer all this onto your new panel. The first thing you want to do is to remove your H channel, which is this. Now I pre-unscrewed the screws. Those would come off. And then this H channel will pull right off. Now the next thing you need to do is on your existing plastic, in the back here, there's going to be a black masking that is holding the two together. It just takes a little bit of work. You're going to have to get in and slowly pull your plastic off. I've already done it on this one, so it's coming off really easy. And once that's off, I'll show you the next step. Now with your speaker panel off, you're going to need to use your existing metal grills. There's 4 staples that hold it down. I've already taken them off here. But the way to get them off is just to pry a standard head screwdriver under the edge and lift up the staple a little bit. And this goes under the staple. And then you pop it off. Once those 4 are popped off, your speaker grill can come right off and can transfer to the new panel. Okay, now you can secure these black panels down if you want to, and we've included 8 3/8 inch wire nails. And if you want to secure them down, you can just use those, knock it in with a hammer. Don't leave this on your pinball machine. Take it out to a garage or what have you. Or on your original panel, the black masking that's on the back will hold them in place. So if you don't want to nail those in, you don't have to. This will suffice. The next step is all the screws that are holding down your speakers. You're going to want to remove those. The screws that are holding your mounts off, we're going to remove those and transfer those to here. And then the screws that are holding down your DMD, we're going to untighten those. I have all the screws removed, and I've transferred the brackets to the new panel. Now, if you have a color DMD, it's going to mount using the holes that are pre-drilled on the board, and you're going to use the shorter screws. Now, we're going to put the original DMD back in, so we're going to show how to do that. Now, what's important is when you're pulling up the DMD, there's these black little spacers. You need to make sure to save these, keep these, because we're going to use them again. Okay. Now you can see on the new panel, you have large areas for the lights, for the speakers. Now, this is your light ring, and this is going to mount, set right there, and your speaker is going to set right on top of it. Now to screw it on, you're going to take your 1 1/4 inch screws, take a lock washer, put it on there, and put a washer on it. Now these will screw down on all 4 of the existing locations. Now if you had aftermarket speakers and you'd have 2 rings this size, you would do the same exact thing on both sides. But on this side, we have the original stock tweeter. On this has the light ring built in, and then this imitates the look of that speaker. Now, another thing is you want to try to get these facing down. On most games, this is facing down on both speakers, so you'll want to take a look at that, have that facing down. That's going to mount right there, and you see the tweeter is going to mount right on top of that. This will also get screwed down with your 1 1/8 inch. Make sure you got the lock washer and your washer. Now on the DMD, instead of using the elevator bolts that are on your existing panel, you're going to use these number 6 1-inch screws, and again you're going to put on the lock washer, a regular washer, and the black posts that we took off earlier are going to go over. Those are going to raise up your DMD, and you're going to take your existing DMD and it's going to get screwed down like that. Okay, so we have this speaker mounted here with the lights, the DMD's back on, and we have this cone. The next step is to take your tweeter, and it's going to mount. There's 4 holes here. It's going to line up and mount just like it did on your original board, and you're going to use the original screws that you took this off with to mount this down. Okay, now this is the the power tap, and we have a separate video on this if you want to look at it to go into more detail. On your WPC games, you have 3 spots here, J116, 117, 118. This is where we're going to get our power from. These have 5 and 12 volts. So what you do is you unplug the plugs that's there. Then you're going to take your power tap, and it's going to plug into that existing plug. Now this is what's called a Z-connect, and you have 3 wires here. Put this in your Z-connect, So it covers those 3 wires. And then your original will plug into that. So this is acting as a bridge to give power to your original plug, and now we have the plug we need for our power. Now we're going to hook up everything. First thing is you have a power extension here that you may not need, but we supply it just in case, and because it's supplied we're going to show it there. Now you get 2 4-pin connectors. Those are going to go each at the end of the LED controllers, so each arm has a controller. Power just plugs right into there. On each speaker you have a 4-pin connector. Now if you look on it, there's a little arrow here, and on here there's a little arrow. You want to match the arrows up. And then we'll do that on this side also. Now I recommend taking some tape and wrapping it around these so they won't easily unplug. Now we do apply some zip ties, and you can cross do it. That can be a challenge sometimes, but either of those will secure these plugs in place. Next step is to put your speaker plastic back in place and put your H channel back in place and screw down the 4 bolts. Next step is going to be to replace your panel. Now this is your LED controller, and this is the remote control sensor. If you know what color you want to set this on, just red or something, you can set it. But if you want to be able to control the speaker lights with the remote, you're going to want to have the sensor visible through a line of sight. So now just take the panel and bring it up to the H channel. Make sure all your wires are out. Tilt it up, and then lift up a little bit, and go back, and then it will set in place. And let me get now we'll get the remote sensor. Now I just taped up the remote sensor here to make it convenient. Now I'm going to turn on the game and turn it on with the remote. Takes a while for it to get in. So that looks good. Let's put the glass back on. And you should have full control of your colors through the glass. Takes a little bit of playing there. We can have it jump through, fade through a couple of colors, jump through some colors. And you're all set. Thank you for watching our video from Lighted Pinball Mods for installation on WPC lighted speakers.